Hey, this is Mark Washington, MTC Media. So, one of the things that Adam Silver said on Wednesday that you should really pay attention to and understand how this works, which is Pablo Torre has done a great job at unveiling this. He's everywhere, he's feeling himself, Mr. Investigative Journalist, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But Adam Silver's right. It is the NBA's job to take a look at what happened and prove that something was a violation. It's not the Clippers' job to justify to you whether it's a violation or not. And that's what people are acting like. It's not up to the Clippers to convince you. It's not how this works. The NBA is going to take a look at the claims, largely based on what Pablo came up with, which is what they should do. But understand this. Understand this. Professional sports are no longer a mom and pop ownership business. There are ownership groups that have a stake in, own a ton of things. When you look at these ownership groups from soup to nuts, all the way down to the minority owners, they own a ton of things. If you think that Kawhi Leonard is the only one who has a deal that was associated with a company that is linked to someone in the ownership group, you are crazy. That's not how this works. Part of the rub of being in that particular club, which is the NBA ownership club or professional sports ownership club, is networking business. Networking business. You have these access that other companies and other people do not have. If I'm a minority owner in the Boston Celtics, and I have three companies, and maybe one of the three companies I own 10% of, and I'd love to see that company get into the headlines more, get out there more. Consumers know who they are. You don't think I'm not going to walk down to the locker room and talk to Jason Tatum and get his agent's number to see if we can strike a deal where he can do some stuff for that company to get him out there? What fantasy world do you live in? Of course I'm going to do that. Of course anyone in that particular position is going to do that. None of those guys have heartburn to be limited at what they can leverage this portfolio asset is. And that's what owning a sports team is now. It's a portfolio asset, as Ted Leonsis, because he doesn't hide that. He doesn't hide that. He'll tell you it's an asset in the portfolio. So, what do people do with their portfolio assets? They leverage them. They leverage them for all they're worth. Should there be a benefit on the other side of leverage? Absolutely. So Kawhi Leonard was on the benefit of the other side of leverage. Okay. On top of this, this is more complicated by some of the legal stuff behind it that does not involve Kawhi Leonard. So you have a whole bunch of people upset because the place went out of business, and they got laid off, and now they're talking. And for those who say, well, you don't know, actually, I do know. Because in the late 1990s, at the height of a .com, I left a very good job. And I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I left a very good job to go to a pre-IPO. That pre-IPO, I got there in March. That pre-IPO was broke by July. And yes, one of the owners in that pre-IPO would later, years later, go to jail. I have been there. So I know how this stuff works. I know what that feeling is because I lived it. It was a long time ago, but I lived it. And for those, I don't want to share too much. I will share the company that it was. For those who say, well, what company is it? I'll be more than happy to tell you. The name of the company was Millennium Health Communications. Look it up. Dumpster dive a bit. You'll see the person who was arrested. One of the owners. You'll see why he was arrested. So again, I can understand what it looks like right now. And by the way, after the investigation, it could come up that the Clippers were in the wrong. That's not off the table. What I'm saying, it is way, way too early to determine, one, were the Clippers really in the wrong for this? Can you prove that somehow they're viable? And two, how much did Kawhi know and didn't know, and how much did Ballmer know and did not know? We're far from determining that. So relax. Everybody in the first 5 minutes, and Pablo, trust me, the league has told you we're not treating this as an open and shut case. It's the same thing that's happened with Malik Beasley. The league has determined that they're going to still look into Malik Beasley, no matter what the initial conclusions or where we're going legally with Beasley. There's a lot of things to look into. So, unlike the NFL, the NBA is a lot more transparent, probably to a fault, with some of its internal issues. And that's really shaping a lot of opinion. It's Mark Schwartz, MTC Media.